Welcome back to Eat the Canvas, where it is my goal to inspire you to grow more of what you eat. And on today's episode, it is January 2022, and this is our garden tour. And it's amazing to see how much stuff has grown in only 1 month's time. So let's get into it. I'll show you. Now, if you've been watching any of my recent videos, you know that one of my goals in gardening is to become a winter squash pumpkin growing master, because they are just amazing things to grow. They are nutritiously dense. They also can store on your counter for months at a time, some of them even a year plus. I find that amazing to grow as a gardener. And I've also mentioned the journey that I've had of failing at growing pumpkins or winter squashes. Some of them flowering but producing nothing. Some of them you begin to see the fruits, but they shrivel up and die. Some of them, the fruits get bigger. It gets to that point, but then it dies again. Okay, but I mentioned before also that failures in the garden, they're not really failures. They just show gaps where we lack knowledge. And once we acquire that knowledge, we can then succeed at what we're doing. So I want to show you one of the most exciting things in the garden thus far this year. One of the successes of knowledge gained. Let me show you. I'm starting it off with the kabocha squash. And one of the successes, the furthest that I have gotten so far in growing winter squashes. Look at this. Beautiful. But it's not the only one. Bam. Here's another one. Look at it. Beautiful. Beautiful. But it's not the only one either. Whew. Can't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. The fourth biggest so far, right here. This one's much smaller. Y'all, this is beautiful. This is beautiful because if you know, I continue to fail at doing these, and now they are growing. Here's one in a younger stage right here. Here's one that has just been pollinated, flowers closing up. Y'all, come on now, successes. Now I know y'all won't be excited as I am, because I get it. This is the journey that I've been on, just like you'll be excited about the things regarding the journeys that you've been on and seeing success. This right here is beautiful. I continue to fail, I gain knowledge, and now it's growing. But it's not the only pumpkin and winter squash that I have growing in my yard, which proves that the knowledge that I have gained, that I've acquired, is good. But to digress from my excitement, everything else is growing well. Our bowling res okra is growing up pretty well from when it first started. You can see it looks like it's about to start blooming soon. It's the same with our Jing orange okra over here. Looks like it's about to start opening up soon. Our collard greens are doing well over here. This is actually the best and most healthiest looking collard green plant that I have, and I think it's because of, well, I know it's because of the direct sunlight that it's getting, as well as all the nutrients that are under there. Those compost videos that I did, composting in place, beautiful. Even how the eggplant, the Black Beauty eggplant transplant is just popping right now. It's amazing to see how you can cut off stems of certain plants, put them in the ground, and they just regrow. That's one of the amazing things about gardening. And with our sugar baby watermelon plant right here, we have our first 2 young ones coming in. One right there, the next one, a few links over. Bam, look at them. Beautiful little hairy things. and bringing it over to our cassava plant, which when I first showed this was just a little sprout coming out of there. And now it has grown up well, and it speaks the same for the other two also that are over here. Looking good, looking healthy. There's also another one that I have on the other side of the yard, but I'll show that one later. But they're all pretty much looking the same. Our garnet yam that I got from the store is growing well, producing a lot of growth. All the random seeds that I scattered of carrots and kohlrabi that I mentioned last time, those are all still growing, getting much bigger. They're all doing well. I've thinned some of them, but I have to continue to thin them out more. Obviously this is a little packed right here, but I'll do those in time as well. Cuban oregano, getting a lot bigger. Other collard green plant doesn't get much sun, but it's doing well. Purple sweet potatoes, this is new. I had the russet potatoes here, if you remember from last December's garden tour. I took it out because it just doesn't do well here in the heat. So I decided to grow things that I know do well, and that is sweet potatoes. So this is the purple sweet potato. I planted 3 of them in here, one there, and the other more recently, which is right here. You see it sprouting up now. Back here, the Roma tomato plant that I have, I took some cuttings off from some of the suckers, planted them in, and looks like they have taken root as they are not limp anymore. Red sugarcane, this is one of many, growing well. Our Detroit red beets, which are still looking much healthier and bigger than the first time that I grew beets. Much better, love it. Mustard greens, I've already taken off some of these to put in some stew, and they're still growing, looking good. Roma tomatoes in the back, look at them. Look at them. Beautiful right here. Beautiful. Beautiful. I love to see it, I love to see it. Listen, y'all, I'm trying to never buy Roma tomatoes again. I'm gonna keep getting these cuttings and putting them around the yard over and over again so I can have a constant supply. Over here are red and yellow striped sugarcane, coming up well. This right here as well. These two. Oh, this might be a garlic from the kitchen compost that's growing up. Same with this squash right here. But back here are more red sugar canes. Looks like we have a random parsley growing here too. I love this. This is beautiful. And bringing it to the other half of the garden, our black mission fig is putting out a lot of new growth, leaves looking vibrant. If you recall, before I had a mango tree right here and an apple tree right here. This was really at the beginning of my gardening journey when I really didn't know about plant spacing and nutrient competition underneath the ground. So I snipped those two out, and now we have some lush stuff coming up right now, which is great. Starfruit plant is still doing well. I remember mentioning that we did have one starfruit that was producing on this tree that we started from seed about 2 years ago. We pulled it off. You know, it was ripe, but it was okay. I think it had some first time producing issues, but I'll keep learning more about that. Medjool date palm that we started from seed, still growing up well. Lemon tree, that bad boy is growing nicely. And this is another thing that I am excited about right here. There are certain things that I am excited about as far as gardening is concerned. And one of them is being able to grow things that you will probably never in your life actually see at a store that you would be able to purchase. This is a French variety of melon called Petit Gris de Rennes. It is touted to be one of the most delicious melons that are out there. Not the most, obviously that's opinionated, but it's touted to be one of the most delicious melons out there. And the reason you won't see some foods in the stores is because some of them just don't transport well. Some of them you can't actually pick at peak ripeness. And this is one that many were talking about. When it gets ripe, sometimes the fruit itself splits. Now, if you're in your garden walking around and you see it just beginning to split, obviously you can pick it up, bring it inside, cut it, and enjoy it. That doesn't really do too well in the store. But that's one of the beauties about gardening. You can grow things that you will never find at a store. You will only find it if you're growing it, if somebody else is growing it, or if you happen to come across a farmer's market. Maybe that's growing it as well. So I am excited to see how these produce. I'll probably keep one plant in each one of these little sections, as then I have them compete for too much soil. But this is another bed that I put a lot of kitchen scraps under. Now this is another winter squash plant we have over here. This is called Marina di Chioggia. I couldn't pronounce this last time, but I know how to pronounce it now. Marina di Chioggia. Leaves are looking big, green, lush. This is the one that I put a lot of old burgers, ground turkey, fish, all kind of stuff in the ground, and I feel like it has reached it, and it is doing very well right now. It looks like it got some powdery mildew from its little friend over here, the Seminole pumpkin, which I'll go to right now actually. So this shows another bit of success, minus, you know, all that powdery mildew killing stuff off right there. This shows more success of the knowledge that I have gained. Look at it. Woo, come on now. Let me get a little closer. Come on now. Look at this. Beautiful. There's another one, the second largest one, that's over here. It's starting to get a little thick in here. There it is. Number 2. Come on now, y'all. This is our other cassava plant. It actually looks like it's doing better. It has more direct sunlight, which makes sense. And if you do recall, here is where I had 3 Seminole pumpkins planted in this little patch right here. I ended up snipping off 2 of them. One was just growing a little small. It wasn't really doing much. The other one was rampant with powdery mildew. Now, though this has caught it as well, there is still a lot of green growth, and it looks like a lot of these fruits are going to ripe before, you know, it begins to do its thing and continues to spread. I also planted on the border of the back of this red sugarcane as well. Our Bariba plant back here is doing well, which I believe is in the family of custard apple. But yes, y'all, I love seeing garden progress, especially when there has been things that were not working out at first. And then when you gain some knowledge, just a little bit of knowledge, you begin to see the fruits, pun intended, the fruits of what that knowledge and what your work produced. And lastly, to bring it back, I cannot forget our bananas, which are getting a little bigger still. I had to put this T-post in the ground back here and pull it up and tie it with this rope, because it started to lean a little bit further over into the walkway. I didn't want it to snap and break, and we would lose all of this harvest, which is not ready to get off yet. All right, there you have it, y'all. I didn't go through everything because some stuff is redundant from the last video, but I really just wanted to get on the ones that I was mostly excited about. If you're failing at something, gain the knowledge. That's all you're missing. There's a piece of knowledge that you are missing. Gain it and watch the fruits that come from it. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Eat the Canvas, and remember to grow more of what you eat. Until next time.